This speech will change how you see yourself. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that the greatest obstacle standing between them and the life they desire is not the economy, not their circumstances, not their past, not even the people around them. It is the image they carry of themselves. Most people spend years trying to improve their lives without ever improving the lens through which they see themselves. They chase opportunities while secretly believing they are unworthy of them. They dream of success while expecting failure. They desire greatness while remaining emotionally attached to mediocrity. And that is why their lives never truly change. Because life has a strange way of reflecting back the identity you accept. Not the identity you talk about. Not the identity you post about. The identity you genuinely believe. If deep down you believe you are ordinary, you will unconsciously settle for ordinary results. If deep down you believe you are incapable, you will find reasons not to act. If deep down you believe the world is against you, every challenge will appear as proof. The mind is powerful beyond measure. It is a fertile field. Whatever is planted repeatedly begins to grow. Plant doubt, and doubt multiplies. Plant fear, and fear expands. Plant belief, and possibility begins to emerge. This is why the most important conversation you will ever have is the one that takes place inside your own mind. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you are telling yourself a story. A story about who you are. A story about what you deserve. A story about what is possible. A story about your future. And eventually, that story becomes your reality. The world has always belonged to those who dared to believe in a future they could not yet see. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb. Most people remember the invention. Few remember the countless moments when failure would have been the logical choice. Henry Ford was told his vision was impossible. Walt Disney was rejected. Abraham Lincoln suffered defeat after defeat before becoming one of history's greatest leaders. Yet each of them possessed something more valuable than talent. They possessed belief. A belief so powerful that it allowed them to continue when results were absent. A belief so powerful that criticism could not destroy it. A belief so powerful that temporary failure could not convince them to quit. The truth is that your future will rarely be determined by your current circumstances. It will be determined by your current beliefs. Because beliefs influence actions. Actions create habits. Habits shape character. Character determines destiny. The chain begins in the mind. Long before success appears in your bank account, it appears in your thinking. Long before confidence appears in your behavior, it appears in your self-image. Long before victory appears in your reality, it appears in your imagination. Everything begins within. That is why the person who learns to master their mind gains access to a power that cannot be taken away. The world can take money. The world can take possessions. The world can take status. But a disciplined mind remains undefeated. A disciplined mind creates opportunities where others see obstacles. A disciplined mind discovers solutions where others see problems. A disciplined mind continues moving when everyone else stops. And movement is everything. Too many people spend years waiting. Waiting for confidence. Waiting for permission. Waiting for certainty. Waiting for perfect conditions. Meanwhile, life keeps moving. Opportunities keep passing. Dreams keep fading. Potential remains trapped. The people who change their lives are rarely the ones who wait. They are the ones who move. Not because they have all the answers. Not because they have no fear. But because they understand that action creates clarity. The first step reveals the second. The second reveals the third. The path becomes visible through movement. A ship sitting in the harbor may be safe, but ships were not built for harbors. They were built for oceans. Likewise, you were not created to spend your life hiding from uncertainty. You were created to grow. To expand. To become. Growth demands discomfort. Every meaningful transformation requires it. The muscle grows because it is challenged. The mind grows because it is stretched. Character grows because it is tested. Yet many people spend their lives avoiding the very experiences capable of making them stronger. They fear failure. But failure is often a teacher disguised as disappointment. They fear rejection. But rejection often redirects people towards something greater. They fear setbacks. But setbacks frequently contain lessons that success could never provide. The strongest people are not those who avoided hardship. They are those who learned how to use hardship. Every challenge can either break you or build you. The difference is perspective. One person experiences failure and concludes they are not good enough. Another experiences failure and concludes they need to improve. One interpretation creates weakness. The other creates growth. Life responds differently to each. This is why your perspective matters. Your perspective determines whether obstacles become walls or stepping stones. Whether criticism becomes discouragement or fuel. Whether difficulty becomes an excuse or an opportunity. The quality of your life is largely determined by the quality of your thinking. That truth cannot be escaped. Your thoughts influence your emotions. Your emotions influence your actions. Your actions influence your results. Everything is connected. And because everything is connected, changing your thoughts can change your future. Not overnight, not magically, but gradually and powerfully. Every day you choose a thought. Every day you choose an attitude. Every day you choose whether you will focus on possibilities or limitations. These choices accumulate. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. And eventually, a life is formed. Many people underestimate the power of consistency because they are obsessed with dramatic change. They want immediate transformation, immediate success, immediate results. But nature does not work that way. The tallest tree began as a tiny seed. The greatest river began as a small stream. The strongest person began with a single decision. Greatness is not built in a day. It is built daily. One disciplined choice at a time. One courageous action at a time. One productive habit at a time. The secret is not intensity. The secret is consistency. Anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can feel inspired for a week. The true difference maker is the ability to continue when motivation disappears. Because motivation is temporary. Discipline is dependable. Discipline wakes up when emotions do not cooperate. Discipline acts when excuses appear. Discipline continues when progress seems slow. And eventually discipline produces results that motivation alone never could. The most successful people in history were not always the most talented. They were often the most persistent. They simply refused to quit. They understood that persistence possesses a power few people appreciate. Persistence turns ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Persistence transforms failures into lessons. Persistence turns setbacks into stepping stones. Persistence eventually accomplishes what talent alone cannot. When the world says stop, persistence says continue. When doubt says quit, persistence says try again. When fear says retreat, persistence says move forward. That is how greatness is built. Not through one giant leap, but through thousands of small victories. Victories over fear. Victories over procrastination. Victories over self-doubt. Victories over comfort. Because comfort is often the enemy of potential. Comfort feels safe. Comfort feels familiar. Comfort feels easy. But comfort rarely changes lives. Growth changes lives. And growth begins the moment you become willing to leave the familiar behind. Every remarkable achievement exists outside the boundaries of comfort. Every breakthrough requires courage. Every transformation requires faith. Faith not necessarily in circumstances. Faith in yourself. Faith in your ability to learn. Faith in your ability to adapt. Faith in your ability to overcome. You have survived challenges before. You have overcome obstacles before. You have endured difficult seasons before. There is strength within you that you have not fully recognized. There is resilience within you that has not yet been fully tested. There is potential within you that remains largely untouched. The question is not whether that potential exists. The question is whether you will choose to develop it. Because potential means nothing without action. A seed has potential, but unless it is planted, watered, and nurtured, it remains a seed. Human potential operates the same way. Your dreams require action. Your goals require commitment. Your future requires effort. No one can do that work for you. No one can believe for you. No one can grow for you. The responsibility is yours. And while that responsibility may feel heavy, it is also incredibly empowering. Because if your future is your responsibility, then your future is also within your influence. You are not merely a product of circumstances. You are a creator of circumstances. You are not simply reacting to life. You are shaping it. Every thought matters. Every decision matters. Every action matters. The person you become tomorrow is being created by the choices you make today. So stop measuring yourself by where you are. Measure yourself by where you are going. Stop defining yourself by your past mistakes. Define yourself by your future possibilities. Stop asking whether you are capable. Start asking what becomes possible when you fully commit. Because the moment you change the way you see yourself, the way you live begins to change. The way you speak changes. The way you think changes. The way you act changes. The standards you accept change. The opportunities you pursue change. And eventually, the results change. Never forget this. You are far more powerful than your doubts suggest. Far more capable than your fears admit. Far more resilient than your failures imply. Within you exists the ability to build, create, achieve, overcome, and transform. Within you exists the capacity for greatness. Not because greatness is reserved for a chosen few, but because greatness is the natural result of disciplined growth, unwavering belief, persistent effort, and a refusal to surrender. The person you are becoming is watching. The future you is waiting. The life you desire is calling. Answer that call. Believe bigger. Think bigger. Act bigger. Live with purpose. Move with conviction. Face adversity with courage. Pursue excellence with discipline. And never again allow a limited image of yourself to determine the size of your future. Because the moment you truly see yourself differently, everything changes.